Good afternoon and welcome everybody to the August 16th, and it's our only legislative meeting this month. We're looking for a motion for the agenda. Councillor Curtis makes a motion to adopt the agenda. Any additions or deletions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Next is the adoption of the minutes of our last regular meeting. Oh, look at that. Councillor Rudick is on Zoom with us and she makes the motion. Welcome, Councillor Rudick. How's things where you at?
I'm in Ottawa and things are great.
Okay, thanks for joining us. So we have a motion. Is there any errors or omissions within those minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried, thank you. First up, well, I guess Director Lefebvre has nothing. Okay. So Director Saskew, Corporate Services.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this is the procurement and P-card policies. So the town of Vegreville does not have a formal procurement policy, and the P-card policy is up for review. These policies are being presented as information and will be brought back to the September 6, 2022 legislative meeting for discussion. Financial implications. The town of Vegreville recognizes the need to control expenditures and takes accountability for ensuring efficiency and effectiveness of the procurement process and its responsibilities to all stakeholders, including suppliers and the public. The addition of the procurement policy and update of the P-card policy will establish consistent and fair purchasing practices while ensuring efficient allocation of available resources of both financial and non-financial nature. Staff and senior management will be informed of changes to the purchasing process as a result of the adoption of these policies and procedures. So as I had noted, this is presented for information purposes. The procedure and policy is quite lengthy, so it's giving you guys time to review and we'll bring up for discussion on September 6th.
Okay, so everybody get their reading in, and do you want any questions to come to you beforehand? Do you want to take them all during that meeting?
I would say a little bit of both. Like if you have questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out and we can touch base and do some background research, right? Because sometimes there's questions that maybe I don't have at the top of my head. So yes, if you have questions, feel free to reach out in the next couple weeks, and then otherwise we'll bring it back up on the 6th.
Okay, thank you. CAO Leggett is up next.
Thank you, Your Worship. Sorry, just let me navigate over there. Sorry, I was typing. P-card, where's my sheet? Here we are. So the topic here is the cancellation of the September 20th Legislative Committee meeting, and the background is the AB Muni's annual conference is being held in Calgary this year on the 21st to the 23rd, and due to travel on the 20th, we those of us attending won't be able to attend the Ledge meeting, so pretty straightforward.
Okay, thank you. And then the Rcmp quarterly report. We've all read it. So this quarterly report will come at the council meeting for approval.
I'm going to actually defer that to the legislative coordinator. Do we got to bring it back to next council meeting? We don't.
Just an information update. So this was probably the last one we're going to get from Staff Sergeant Higgins. Do we know when he's moving on, Chris? Okay. Okay. So next up is a card that we received from the Ziegler family. It says, Mayor and Council, on behalf of the Gordon Ziegler family, we would like to thank you so much for the signet at the Diamond this year. So for those who don't know, we had a sign made that said the Gordon Ziegler ball field. This year was even more special since the Blue Jays won the league. Gordon seemed to be there watching as so many years passed. So thank you very much, and it lists all the families of the Blair and Jerry Ziegler family, Gwen Ziegler and family, Becky Ziegler, Arden and Holly, Colleen and Kevin Weeder. So I know that they are quite appreciative of it, and it was nice that we were able to get that done. So moving forward, I think we should have a discussion. I know that we talked about it. We have we were naming the Ball Diamonds under our sponsorship program at one time, and the people were paying for ads, but I think that in coming meetings, maybe we should talk about renaming the ballpark itself. And that way we would never sell the naming rights to the ballpark, but only the diamonds. So I would like to thank the Ziegler family for reaching out, and anybody that knew Gordon knew that he spent a lot of time there, and he's watched a lot of ball, and it was nice that we were able to do that this year. It was even nicer that the Vegreville Blue Jays end up winning the league championship. So thank you again to them. Okay, food bank volunteer requests. How come I don't have that? Sandra, do you have it? Oh, no. Okay, there we go. Hello, in 2020, the town of Vegreville assisted with our Friday corporate pickups, and I was wondering if the town would be interested in helping the food bank again this November, 2022. Here's the proposed schedule. Thursday, November the 10th, at Walmart only. Friday the 11th, they're closed. The Friday the 18th of November, pickup at No Frills only, 9 a.m. And Friday the 25th of November, pickup at No Frills after and Walmart after. So I don't know if anybody wants to put their name forward on this. I think we've all done it in the past, have we not? So it's not that big of a deal. I think what we can safely say, Sandra, is that if you would get back to them, and I think that between, if it's only 4 dates in November, between 7 of us, we could get something done there. Councilor Riddick, you're in on this?
I'd love to.
Okay. So we will try to fill in the dates in the next little while amongst council. Okay, excellent. Next up, we'll go to roundtable discussion. So we're going to start with Councilor Barry.
Thank you, Your Worship. I don't really have any comments from the community, but I would like to point out that some of our soccer folks did very well at the provincials. The girls came in, the U17, I think it was, came in with silver, and the other U13 come in with bronze. And 4 of the boys that were selected and played with the Lakeland FC actually took provincials and won gold. So it was a very good year for soccer, and I think that things are looking up very well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Lemko.
Thanks, Your Worship. I don't have much to report other than things are moving forward on the Vegreville corn maze once again. The corn is actually growing a lot higher this year than it ever has. So we're excited for that, and thanks to Councilors Barry and Bullock for their work out there and things done. And we did win first place for the non-commercial float in the parade, which is for the Corn Maze Parade. Anyway, things are happening in town. It's an exciting place to be right now with all the people coming in and the movement of houses and that kind of stuff. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Warwa.
Thank you. A couple of the issues that were brought forward to me have already been dealt with. One was actually the boat issue, so that was fine. And the only other thing which was interesting, a couple of people reached out again to me about the parade. We unfortunately had a lot of rain at the parade, and of course we don't pick the route. But once again, I still heard from people that they were really happy with the route that has had changed the other year and seemed to still change. The float that I was in actually indicated that if you were using any animals, that it's much easier. There's more places for unloading, and that you weren't dealing with crossing the tracks or anything from another side. So there was some concern that was brought to me of, were we impacting the businesses? And I just kind of reiterated that from what we'd heard before, a lot of the businesses said they didn't see an uptake in business when people were on the streets. In fact, if anything, sometimes it was an uptake of trying to use washroom facilities, but it wasn't actually resulting in a lot of additional business. So that's really the only thing was brought to me was positive feedback again. So I think it's worthy of us sharing that with the Ag Society and letting them know. And other than that, I just see that no matter what the weather is, it more reinforces some of the work and priority that we put towards having outdoor spaces. There's people all over utilizing our outdoor spaces all the time. So I think we know that that means we will always want to see priority be towards our parks and our walkways, because they sure are seeming to be used. So that's all I got.
Okay, I just want to stop for a second. Has anybody heard anything negative about the parade route the last 2 years? Councillor Bullock?
Yeah, actually, I heard a rumor, I don't know how true it is, but it was contrary to what you're saying that some of the businesses had missed the parade being downtown because the people would stick around after and go into the businesses. That's what I've heard. Okay, but otherwise, I also heard on the senior centers, they really liked it because it's going past them now. So they're not having to transport downtown to go watch the parade or to the route.
Councillor Riddick, what have you heard?
I've heard a little bit of both. That I actually had somebody comment that the route excluded business owners, and that the timing and the length of the fair this year was affecting other out-of-town events. The exhibition in Ranfurly, for example. And I reminded them again that we are not responsible for organizing, that would be a conversation between ag societies. But I have heard positive and negative comments about the route.
Okay. Okay, what have you been hearing, Councillor Riddick? It's your turn for the report. Discussion.
I've got a few things. I did receive an email about alleys, and so I will reply and CC the appropriate staff, but just concerned about rainfall and some of the alley projects. So maybe we can have a little bit of an update to see where those are at. Other interaction that I had was about childcare in the community. There's been an ongoing conversation on Vegreville Parents Facebook group for new parents that are moving to the community. They're having a really tough time trying to find childcare. And I'll just remind council that we were, the summer programming at Ale Horton, the programmer reached out to us before the beginning of summer, and they were oversubscribed the entire time, and they're having a tough time being able to provide options to local families. So just to, I'll forward this again to our FCSS crew. But again, as we're moving and attracting young families to the community, the options of childcare are really important because they're having a tough time being able to access the subsidy, the childcare subsidy if you're a Ukrainian family, and or if you're eligible for the subsidy that's provided for decreased cost. And then the last thing was Day of Action is being sponsored by the Ukrainian Canadian Congress, and FCM is partnering with municipalities across the country to raise attention to Ukraine on August 24th. So I know that we're already doing a lot to support our Ukrainian friends, but just wanted to bring that to the forefront. They're encouraging municipalities to raise flags and or display lights that are yellow and blue, just to again continue to raise attention to the war in Ukraine.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Bullock.
Yeah, actually, what I have is the Vegreville Agricultural Society Country Fair was really well received this year. They had attendance of 20,000 again, so they didn't quite make what they did last year, as in people. They had 21,000 attendance last year. This year's 20. So the spinoff in the community was pretty interesting when you look just what I seen on the grounds myself. I seen local tire shop, OK Tire, out there putting tires on. I seen local welders repairing equipment out there for the midway. So the economic spin-off was pretty good. The restaurants, that was really good. So we got to remember how well they do in bringing people to this town. And the park and ride was arranged really well, and it was really hard to find parking in town. So the people taking the park and ride was a good thing. So the economic impact was fantastic from that. So, and the number of volunteers that they had come out to support that event was quite awesome, actually. Lots of help, and it was really run well this year, as you could tell. And as for the conflict, I heard about the same conflict about Tenines, but I know that the Vegreville Agriculture Society didn't have some events on the Sunday. That I know that they had not, so it wouldn't conflict with other horse events in the area. So that's a thing for the ag societies to discuss for sure. Also, to let everybody know that the Pesica Park Market and the Elks Hall Market, they're full swing this season, so head on down to see those for sure. That's about all I have right now. Just good news mostly, and we'll stick to that.
Thank you very much. Councillor Curtis.
Thank you. A couple things for me. On July 28th, I did my first slick call, so senior Lincoln call. I was put on with the FCSS crew. Elizabeth there got me involved, and yeah, through Zoom we have some seniors and some different lodges around town, and they Zoom in and they get my take on what's going on in town, or whoever the councilor is at the time. So kind of give them an update on how things are going, and it was really nice actually. Had some good questions and some good discussion, and with me being new, I kind of gave them a background on myself and how I got to be in Vegreville. It was actually really good, and I'm looking forward to the November one. So that's the first thing for me. Second thing we have is I got some stats actually from the Vic this year on people coming through town. So the previous year, in a COVID year, May through September, we had 25,000 visitors they had recorded, and May to end of July, 48,000 this year already, and we're not done. So quite a big uptick through town. So I think that's a lot of good advertising on our part, and people getting back out and driving down too. Go East of Edmonton kind of mentioned too that with prices of gas, people are looking for the one-tank trips, and we kind of fall into that to some of the major centers, Edmonton, Fort Sask, Sherwood Park, and that. So that's a lot of our visitors, as well as some international visitors too. They mentioned there was a couple from Hungary that went and signed their name in there the other day too. So lots of good stuff going down at the Vic. And then the last thing is our new mural. Josh Harnack's mural up on the ceramic cottage was done on August 11th, and we saw a lot of comments on our Facebook page with how people enjoyed that mural. It fits in really well there. So that's my update.
Okay, thank you very much. So I just want to comment on a couple of things. I want to thank the Vegreville Agricultural Society for asking us to help with the golf carts and the shuttles program. I heard very good comments all the time, and I really appreciate those on council who were able to take a shift or a couple of shifts, because it's close to the people. You get to hear what their concerns are and stuff. And I want to thank them, and I want to encourage them to keep asking us. And if you have the opportunity to get out there and help the shuttle and help people around the facility or to their cars, to the parking lots, I've even driven people to their houses. So, but it was good, and a very successful fair they had again this year. Hats off to them. One negative thing I'm hearing is what's going to be happening with a burnt house in our town. I see that the police tape is down, and it's becoming a bit of a problem. And I noticed that people were up inside the attic and pulling on the roof, and they pulled some parts down out of the roof. So I don't know what our policy is when it comes to houses that are no longer livable, but I like for CAO Liggett to take a look at a house that recently burnt, and there's no snow fence up there. There was a police tape, and the police tape is down, and now there's a lot of people inside that house and hanging around there. So if we can find out where we're going with that, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. Quick update on that. We're actively working on that file, and there is sort of a legislative process to go ahead and get it done, but I can tell you we did have the property boarded up and physically secured here this week. And I drove by it just the other day, and it's been done. So we have pictures as well. Yeah. So and then so we've sort of entered the phase where we're providing notifications to the property owner to either clean it up or demolish it, and following that legislative process.
I know that we had boarded it up and stuff, and I just want to be on record that we acknowledge the complaints that we're receiving from community members, we're doing all that we can within the law.
Correct, yep.
So there's steps that we need to take, and if so, if it need be, we will take it down and put the fee against the taxes on that property. Okay? And that's all I have to report on right now, so I'd like to move to the director's highlights, and we're gonna start with Director Saski.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have here monthly reports for our ISIP grant. So we submitted Claim 7 for June 2022 for a total value of $95,473. So that's the ISIP dollar value. The total value of that is $191,000. We also received quarterly payment for claims 3 to 5 in the amount of $525,679. So that we submit the claims and they pay them out quarterly. So we received that $500,000. We also received our gas tax funding in the amount of $342,000 and our MSI operating in the amount of $50,000, as well as the Regional Infrastructure Master Plan grant for $150,000. So we've been receiving lots of money while I was on holidays. So it's nice to see. We also have 2023 budget prep in progress. So what I'm doing right now is setting up timetables, dates, timelines, and you guys can expect that to be coming your way in the coming weeks. We will also be bringing back the management presentations again this year. So this is where the managers come and they explain not so much dollars and cents for next year, but especially for the new counselors, they explain what their vision is for the next year, what their intentions are. So for example, the 1 year for us is we wanted to introduce the new cemetery software that was online. So I presented that at our manager report, and then it wasn't a big surprise when it came time to budget, because it's like, this is what we're doing and these are the reasons why, and then the budget likely follows. So that we are looking forward to getting ramped up again. And that is all I have.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Director Lefebvre.
Thank you, Your Worship. We'll just talk about our big project out there and how well things are going. The off-site portion, we're now directional boring from 43rd Street, the new water line in that'll go up to the Prosperity Industrial Park. So that goes past all the businesses on 51st Avenue, and we will be tying them into the new water supply and abandon the old private line that was put in the 70s. The directional boring has just started today because we had to locate as many of the old surfaces as we could find. And so they'll basically bore in a 12-inch, ream it back out of 24, and then pull the line back through an 18-inch line back through.
18-inch?
Yeah, so it'll be feed 18 from the 43rd up to the park, yep. Off-site also includes the force main that is completed from the lift station to the lagoons. The vault chamber's in. We just have one adjustment to make a field fit on one of the effluent discharges into lagoon cell number 1, and that should be done probably another week or so. Then that end of it will be tied up and finished. The lift station itself, they're doing all the large plumbing that goes from the submersible pumps that are down that 9 meters we talked about, and plumbing it back up to the manifold for discharge. The muffin monsters, the grinders are in. The sewage septic receiving station is in and probably 80% complete. And even though we've struggled with supply and we've struggled with laborers as far as that, things are going pretty well. I mean, things like the overhead door keeps getting pushed back, so it's going to be here at the end of August now. But it's nothing that holds you up. The Cummins generator is scheduled for November arrival. So obviously there's things we can't do until it's in and in place, and then you can connect it with ventilations and things that run off of it. But we're getting over those challenges and keeping the build going quite well. The on-site in the park footprint itself, the material we're moving a lot of material outside of a small rain we got in the weekend. Slowed things down just a little bit, but they're pretty good at scraping it up and rolling it and conditioning it and putting it back down. So as you can see when you drive out there, there's a lot of diesel being burnt in a day. So they're making miles. The deep services is another crew of inline, and they've got the north portion of Prosperity Park completed with water and sewer and the hydrants you can see on the road. On the west portion, they have done about They're about 35 meters from the end, and now they've moved to the east side. We'll call it Street A is the west, and Street B for now is the east, and they're making the way down with sewer line today. So I can update more on that after. And as far as Public Works, we're into August, so a lot of things are getting wrapped up. Miscellaneous concrete is completed. All the asphalt repairs that we had scheduled for this year have now been completed. I see they're still doing some crosswalk line painting. The summer students are out doing that. So we've got, had a good jump on a lot of things this summer. So it's been busy, and we have to hurry up because our summer students are going to be leaving us shortly, so another few weeks. If there's not any questions, that is my report. Oh, and the crosswalk that was requested, sorry, on 45th, 8th Street by Ms. Candace Jagalik. Yeah, the crosswalk has been painted, and we're just, of course, waiting for a crosswalk sign because one's backward and we don't know when it's coming. So another issue, supply issue, but I go take one from somewhere else, but that probably wouldn't work very well. So
Yep, can you tell us, did we get any sloping or grading done in any alleys over the summer? Did we get any time to do that, or there was talk that we were gonna take on what we could, but
yeah, I know that they were did a lot of maintenance with the box grader that we go down and pull the ruts out with that. That's been going steady. I have to touch base with Brad as he's now back this week full time. So, and I'll get that for you next meeting.
okay, appreciate it. And Councilor Riddick had probably one of your questions about where we're at with the Malley work and what our priorities are. So, yeah, we'll have that for you next week. Okay, any other questions of Director Lefebvre? Okay, thank you. Next up is the CAO highlights.
Thank you, Your Worship. So just to go through a few items on the action summary sheet here. So items 30 and 39 are both now being handled by our new manager that's come on board here, with a little bit of emphasis on item 39. As you know, we were in a meeting with Vantage there, and they have provided some very detailed drawings, and I want to thank them for that. We're sort of looking right now to see what best integrates into the facility. So more to come on that project here shortly. I'm happy to report the grass at the BMX/pump track has been knocked down now, and there was a little bit of work, in addition, dirt work that's taken place here over the last week or so. So we're looking to continue to move that project forward. The item number 49, the review ice and ice fees and sort of the logistics there. The manager of Parks and Rec is actively meeting with the user groups now to come up with a plan, and I understand he's just in the final stages of wrapping that up, so it looks pretty good. That's about it, I think, from my side, unless you guys have any other questions on that list.
I do on number 43. Do we have a ETA on Blanchard Dion or whatever?
We don't at this time. I can make a note to prioritize that and move it up the scale here.
Okay. Councilor Riddick, you have a question? Okay. Okay, no other questions? You get up pretty easy there. Sheesh. Okay, well, is there any other business of council? Seeing none, I will adjourn this meeting at 3:37. Thank you all.